Welcome to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages, with your host, Matthew Shipp. This is the podcast for all of those who are involved in the agriculture all the way to the distribution of beverages. And now your host, Matthew Shipp.
Hello and welcome to Harvest to Pour. I'm your host, Matthew Shipp, and today I am here with Michael Babcock from LifeWave. Now, LifeWave is a products harness your body's natural restorative energy to enhance your ability to live well. And I think Michael will tell us a lot more about that here in a minute. But Michael, first I want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
All right. So let us know a little bit about yourself, what brought you to LifeWave, and kind of just take us through that journey and what makes you decide that LifeWave is a great product for you.
Well, I had severe lower lumbar pain on my right side for quite some time. And I've been going to a chiropractor for 4 years. The pain was such that it felt like somebody was stabbing me on the nights in my back. And I've been getting adjustments and, had good adjustments, so-so adjustments. And it worked sometimes, but it was never fully relieved. And so a good friend of mine, I was at a meeting and I told her about the back pain. And she said, well, have you tried the X39? And I said, yeah, you're the third person in 3 weeks that mentioned it. So I think I better pay attention and try it. And so I put the patch on. It's a little Band-Aid type patch about the size of a quarter. And LifeWave recommends you to put it on the back of your neck or just below your belly button. So I put it on the back of my neck. And 24 hours later, that pain went from a level 9 down to a 4. And 3 weeks later, it totally disappeared. It's like, okay, there's something to this. And that's what convinced me of it. And I saw the numbers of the company, its growth. It went from like a $20 million company in 20 years. And in 3 years from the time that they released the X39, it went up to 430 million. So it's like, okay, so there's something to this. If it was just a fluke, it would not have made that big of a jump. So that convinced me. And today I'm 14 months into it and very happy with it.
Okay, so can you explain to our listeners a little bit what this X39 patch and what LifeWave is, what kind of technology they're using?
Okay, well,
and what it's for?
Yeah, the patch is what's called phototherapy or light therapy. It has these salt crystals, these microscopic salt crystals inside the patch, and your body radiates infrared light all the time in the form of heat. And it strikes this patch, and the patch acts like a reflector. It reflects back that light into your body. Your brain picks it up, and what it does is it begins to reactivate your stem cells. Because as we get older, once we hit 30, we have about half of our stem cells active. They're still there, they're just dormant. When you're 60, you have about 5% that are active or maybe less. So what this does is the brain communicates with the body and tells the body to reactivate those stem cells. And when the stem cells start reactivating, what they do is they replace worn out cells and rejuvenates the tissue. Whatever, it can be anything. It can be bone, brain cell, lung cell, whatever. It can be anything. And so that's pretty much how it works. It's non-invasive. So there's no drugs, no chemicals, no injections. Nothing from the patch goes into your body. It stays completely in the patch the whole time.
All right. And besides reducing your pain, what else kind of influenced you beyond that to join LifeWave and start promoting this product? What have you seen so far?
You mean as far as what other people have benefited?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen quite a bit. We just had a man, 68-year-old man here in St. Charles County, Missouri, that after 4 months of using the patch, he passed his dementia test with flying colors.
Wow.
Yeah, and I get emails once a week, at least once a week, about events like this happening or occurrences. Another man, his name is Eddie. He's 96 years old. He was in hospice. He was on oxygen 24/7. He could barely move around, even with a walker. And he was on the patches for 100 days. And after that, they pretty much kicked him out of hospice, took off the oxygen, and he's doing fine. He's doing he's shopping, he's doing his laundry, he's exercising, he's independent. And it's just, I probably sit here and tell you half an hour worth of this. But those are the two big ones that I've come across in the past 2 weeks.
Right. So those are some really significant and big changes. So I'm wondering, my listeners are at this point going, Matt, this is a beverage business
Yeah.
podcast. What are you doing? So I wanted to bring you on because now I also often talk to business owners, even the producers, the brewers, the winemakers, the distillers. But what I often don't get to talk to about much is the people behind that. When we're talking about harvest to pour journey, the harvest, just before the harvest, is all the agriculture, and post product, you have all the logistics and transportation. And a lot of these jobs with farmers and transportation, these are real physical jobs. And just from that physicality and the wear and tear on your body, I imagine something like the LifeWave could help, alleviate some of this without, popping painkillers every day to get through your job. Have you had any situation where you see people in these industries using this and seeing some of the benefits from it?
Yeah, there's one instance that comes to mind, and that's a construction worker. He was on a construction site, in a single family residence. He was up in the attic and he fell through the rafters. He broke 6 ribs. And he was just bruised from all up and down his left side of his body. And the doctor said, well, it's going to take 6 weeks recovery before you go back to work. Well, he had been using the patch prior to that. He healed up in 3 weeks and he went back to work in 3 weeks. And I can show you the pictures of the day of the injury, about halfway through, and 2 weeks after, there's hardly any bruising. And he was feeling good enough that he went back to work.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a great example. And injuries like that could probably happen out in the field, out in a farming field, farm equipment, or anything like that. All the way from, I've talked to a few coffee farms, and they still hand pick the coffee cherries. And they're up on the sides of really steep mountains and cliffs, and they're carrying sometimes just 5-gallon buckets with them. And they got to go up and down these hills. I can imagine the tear on the body that could take, and maybe something like this could not only alleviate the pain, but extend their ability to work longer because I'm sure like some of these physically demanding jobs kind of have a shelf life to them.
Yeah. Well, one of the benefits that we see happening with the stem cells reactivating is increased stamina. And in many cases, increased strength, like in Eddie, the 96-year-old. He's in hospice, and 100 days later, he's out of hospice and he's exercising. Well,
Now, tell us a little bit more about, like I said, you told us a little bit the technology of the patches. Now, these are really small. I believe they're not to about a quarter size or so.
Yes.
And does it matter where you put them on yourself, or does that correlate to what you're healing? Do you just put it closest to the pain, or is there a specific site on your body that has to go?
Well, LifeWave's tells you either on the back of your neck, the base of your neck, or below your belly button, because that's where they tested it and that's where they can advertise. But what all of us have found out is exactly what you just said, Matt. You can put it where it hurts. I had on my left knee, I had a ski injury from 35 years ago that just acts up from time to time. So it was hurting. So I started wearing the patch down there where it hurt on the knee, and I wore it there for about 6 weeks. It's gone. For 35 years, this thing nagged me, and now it's gone completely.
And now a word from our sponsors. If you're a business owner trying to grow but feel stuck, it might be time to call the right kind of help. Dr. Mike Smith from Action Coach isn't just another consultant. He's a certified business and executive coach with the tools to help you grow smarter, not harder. Whether you need better systems, clearer strategy, or just want to get your time back, Action Coach can help you build a business that works without burning you out. You can learn more and even book a free session at actioncoach.com/St. Louis West. Don't guess your way through growth. Let Dr. Mike Smith with Action Coach show you the smarter path. Hey, are you spinning your wheels trying to figure out what will really boost your business's bottom line? At Emberry Solutions, our Profit Priority Workshop is here to cut through the noise. We help you zero in on what truly matters, aligning your team, optimizing your processes, and magnifying your profits. Imagine your business running smoother than ever, with every decision and effort leading straight to increased profits. That's what focusing on the right priorities can do. Ready to boost your efficiency and profits? Visit Emberry Solutions and let's start making your business work smarter. At Emberry Solutions, we take your business from bottlenecks to breakthroughs. So what if somebody is listening to this and nobody's ever heard of LifeWave or these patches, and they're thinking salt crystals and infrared? What should somebody with it, maybe like, yeah, I've got a chronic back pain but I'm not so sure about these stickers you're talking about. What do they need to bring to the table themselves, or how do you help people, convince people that, give this a try?
Well, there's two things that they want. They can get a hold of me, contact me, and I'll be glad to talk to them and give them whatever resources that they're looking for. We do have a website. It's called thisisitinfo.com, and it's like trying to take a drink out of a fire hose. It's quite a bit. But there's white papers on there. There's testimonials by doctors who have advised their patients to use the patches because they found out that, like, after surgery, their patients were healing up twice as fast with them or without them. So, but that would be a good source. But I'd say, get a hold of me. I'll be glad to talk to you. I've talked to a lot of people every day about it.
Okay. Yeah, just kind of curious how people can come to the stage with this, and how, like, I just recently heard of LifeWave. How long has this company been around, and how is it growing?
It's been around about 25 years.
Okay.
They started out in the first 20 years, they went from like 0 to 20 million. And David Schmidt is the CEO and inventor of LifeWave. And the Navy came to him, and he got a contract with the U.S. Navy, and he created a patch that works very similar to the X-39 for the Navy SEALs, so that they could stay awake for a continuous 36 hours without having any adverse effects. And it worked so well that's what inspired David to look further into longevity. Then he found out it was the stem cells that have gone dormant, which is causing the effects and the infirmities of aging. And so he worked on that. And the year that he released it, the company went from just a 20 million up to over 100 million. And today, which is a little bit 4.5 years later, they're over $600 million company, and they're moving up towards $1 billion. And those numbers may not make it a lot to a lot of people, but to me, it was like, if this didn't work, if this was just a placebo, you're not going to get those numbers, and you're not going to get your product in 83 countries around the world.
Okay. Do you ever run into any challenges when working with a potential client, or what's your most common one?
Yeah, the most common thing is they're excited. They want to use the patch, but they're not consistent. They'll say, "Oh, well, I forgot to put it on for the last 2 days, whatever." That's the biggest stumbling block, because if you're not consistent, you will probably not get the kind of results you're expecting. And one of the simplest things I always tell them is just, everybody's got a phone these days, and you've got an alarm on it. Like what I do is I set it for 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock at night, take it off, because it's good for 12 hours. So you take off the patch, you discard it, and the next day you repeat. And if they do that, the ones that do it are the ones that are getting the results. I have a young guy in his late 20s. He's a roofer, of all things, and he has a bad knee. And he goes, "You think this will help?" I said, "Let's try it." In 3 weeks, he texted me back and said, "Michael, my knee is feeling a whole lot better now. I just saw his boss this morning and said, 'Well, how's Jake doing?' And he goes, 'He's doing excellent. He's very satisfied with what's going on.'" I said, "Great." But Jake is doing it. He's every day, puts it on, 12 hours, takes it off. He's consistent.
Awesome. Okay. Some of this technology reminds me of another company I interviewed almost a year ago called Sword Performance, and they have a hydration solution that really is niched focused towards industrial workers and the conditions they work in. And it gets the hydration, but not only that, it gives them energy and the stamina that you were talking about. It'd be, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see the two of those working together. But I digress. But that also reminds me, they had different hydration solutions. Are there different patches for different situations?
Well, yeah, actually there is, but they have the X49, which is a pretty much the same thing as the X39, but it focuses on, it was designed for athletes because athletes are always getting injured, and they're pushing themselves to the max. And then they have several others. One is to get your body to naturally create glutathione, which is an anti-inflammatory. Excuse me. And so there's so many of them. I mean, we can go to their website and kind of go through it, but the flagship is X39 because it pretty much does everything. When the stem cells are reactivated, it seems like your hormones are balancing, your genes are balancing out. Memory, a lot of people are getting their memory back. What they call brain fog. So maybe you and I are probably the only ones on this podcast that knows what brain fog is. I don't know.
I think a lot of people do.
Well, I started, once you pass 40, it's weird stuff begins to happen like that.
Yeah.
But it goes away. It starts to, diminish. And you start, like for me, I started realizing there was times I'd go walk in a room and I go, what did I come in here for?
Oh, the door of forgetfulness. Yes.
Now it's not happening quite often.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well,
okay.
Those are some of the benefits that I've experienced, and others have said the same.
All right. Well, great. So a couple more questions, and this one's kind of fun. So after a long day of work, and you're getting ready to take that first 12-hour patch off, what is your favorite beverage you go to?
Well, I like having a glass of wine.
Glass of wine. Okay.
One of my favorites is a Chardonnay or a Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for that. And are there any promotions or information people can go to find out more about the LifeWave patch as well?
Oh, well, I mean, if they want, they can call me. I'll talk to them directly. They can email me. My email is thex39guy@gmail.com. It's a pretty easy one to remember. So they can go to the thisisitinfo.com. Really good information there.
Excellent. Well, we'll make sure all that's in the show notes. So if anybody checks, they can find your email and contact information and the information to the resources. All right. Well, Michael, this has been really great. Is there anything else that anybody else should know about LifeWave before we close out?
Well, it's I've worked for a lot of companies in my life. I even worked in television for 20 years and loved what I was doing. And I'll tell you, to be associated with LifeWave is by far the best company I've ever been associated with. They're such good people. They're honest. They really take care of their what they call us brand partners. They really take good care of us, and they're advancing in technology. They're going to be coming out with a water filtration system that can filter microplastics out of water, and then they energize the water. And and then next year, I know that doesn't sound like it would be something LifeWave would do, but they're coming out with a sustainable energy supply the size of a large suitcase that you could power your house with.
Well,
and when they said that, I go, well, how's that got anything to do with the patches? But we're just an innovative company. They want to bring like health and harmony to the world. And it's like, great. I checked those two off on my checklist.
Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, Michael, again, thanks for being on the show. This has been really informative, and I'm hoping that other business owners are going to listen to this and they have their people that are doing the physical work, and they have somebody that's, has that story of the bad knee, the bum knee, and slows them down, and maybe they'll come talk to you or someone at LifeWave and hopefully find a way to alleviate that problem and make their work life a much better place to be.
Yes.
So again, thanks again, Michael, for your time, and we'll talk again soon.
Well, thank you, man. It was good doing this one.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Harvest to Pour, the business of beverages with Matthew Shep. Check the show notes for our guest contact information and connect with Matthew Shep on LinkedIn today.